My name's Charlie and welcome to my channel and welcome to my weekly reads. How are you guys? I hope you guys have had a good week. Let me know in the comments below. Then before I get into all the natty stuff, I'm going to talk to you about all the books that I am currently reading and the books that I've finished since the last time I spoke to you. So to kick it off, I'm going to start with Riambel, which is a recommendation that I got from Elle from the Library of Elle and also Ben from Ben Reads Good, both of whose channels which are brilliant and I highly recommend you checking out. They're just awesome creators. So yeah, I'll put links in the description. So right, Riambel is a book that is set in Mauritius. Priya Hein is a Mauritian author, and this book is a very short book, which is part of the reason I was drawn to picking it up, because I'm currently in the middle of a few things and I just wanted to get one that I could sort of kind of chow through in a day and sort of in one sitting. So yeah, anyway, so in this book we are following 15-year-old Nuemi, and she's basically forced to leave school and go and work for this rich and wealthy family that sort of live across the road from where she's living in the slums. And yeah, so she's sort of working alongside her mother. So you hear about her story. So what Priya Hein so cleverly does is that she weaves the herstory of the women that have been on the island previously, and it sort of covers their tales in sort of, it's somewhat brutal fashion in some ways, in some cases, but yeah, it's these powerful, brilliant women as well. It also gives them sort of their power back as well, I would say. And it's just really well written. It's so gorgeous, and like I don't want to say too much because obviously it is very, very short. It's like less than 100. It's like just like 160 odd pages, and it's told in these vignettes as well. So and it's sort of got poetry sections in it, and also there are like these kind of like recipe elements like sprinkled in as well. It was just really, really gorgeous, and I loved it. It was like kind of like a 5-star read throughout the majority of it, and I could see what they were doing, what Priya Hein was doing. But the very last page, I don't know why, I sort of had this visceral reaction to the ending, and I just did not like the ending. I almost to the point where I wanted to throw the book. So even though it was on my e-reader, so I didn't want to throw my e-reader, obviously. But if I would have had a physical copy of it, I probably would have loved the book, because it kind of made me cross. But I obviously won't spoil what happens. But yeah, have you ever had that when you've had read a 5-star book, and then literally the ending is like a 1-star ending, and it makes you annoyed? Tell me in the comments below. There's a few other books that I think there's one other book that I think that really comes to mind for me that did that, and that was Small Pleasures by Claire Chambers. If you've read it, let me know in the comments below if you've had a similar reaction. So yeah, it was just a really, really gorgeous book, but the last page just made me mad, and then I ended up messaging Elle because I was like, oh my god, I love the book, but the ending, it just made me so cross. So yeah. But since going away from that, I read a bit more about the book, and I can see why it was done. But anyway, after finishing Riambel, I loved it so much, but obviously that visceral reaction, I was like, I'm going to give the author another shot. And I know that Riambel was her first adult fiction, so I thought, well, I'll see what children's fiction she has. So that I looked on my Kindle, and they had Under the Flamboyant Tree on there, which is myth retellings from Mauritius. So obviously, as I forgot to mention, with one of the things I loved really a lot in Riambel was the setting. It's just so gorgeous. If you're looking for a book with a gorgeous setting, Riambel has that. It's the descriptions of where you are and the sense of place is just perfect. And obviously it's a tropical setting like Mauritius, but with the backdrop of obviously these dark things as well. But yeah, it was just really gorgeous. And this actual short story collection has similar echoes to that, because it's more sort of, I would say it's more sort of Grimm's fairy tale-esque. And again, yeah. So that was really fun, and it was a very, very quick read. And it gave me a chance to read more of Priya Hein's work, which obviously I'm pleased for. So yeah, so those are the books that I have finished this week. Then in terms of the books that I'm currently reading, I'll talk to you about the ones that I kind of mentioned last week. I've read quite a big chunk of this, which is Outrageous by Paul Baker. Outrageous is basically the story of Section 28 and obviously and Britain's battle for LGBT education. So basically, in case you guys don't know, Section 28 was a law passed in 1988, I believe, and it was basically designed to stop educators like promoting homosexuality, and basically it meant that they were sort of, they weren't allowed to talk anything about being LGBTQ to their students, and obviously they weren't allowed to promote the pretended family of norm. In fact, pretended family norms, aka they weren't allowed to talk about other kinds of families, like obviously with two mums or two dads or etc etc etc. So they weren't allowed to do anything like that, and obviously this led to a whole load of trouble. It was obviously a horrific, terrible idea, and so this basically goes into how it happened, the effects of it, etc etc. And I've currently only got 2 sections left to read of it. Yeah, so far I would 100% recommend it. This is one that's being talked about quite a lot at the moment. It's quite a lot of one of people's favourite non-fictions, and I can highly see why. I definitely want to read more from Paul Baker, because he's got a couple of other books out. So yeah, hopefully I'll finish that. Well, I will finish that in the next couple of days, because I'm reading like 1 section a day again. So yeah, that's that. And then I'm continuing my Beastie Boy, which is The Covenant of Water by Abraham Verghese. And this, I'm sort of just over halfway, can you see? And this is written, it's sort of in 10 sections, so I'm reading 1 section per day, which I found quite useful. It's historical fiction. It begins in the early 1900s in India, and we follow a young girl, and she's sort of betrothed to this man. So obviously she has to leave her family and go off, and his family, the person that she's betrothed to, his family have a curse on them that the males are set to basically die by drowning, death by drowning, I think that's right. So you have that narrative. And we also have another narrative when it pulls you over to Glasgow, and we follow Digby, who is becoming a trainee doctor. He won't progress in his career in Glasgow, so someone suggests to him to go over to India and join the Indian medical service, and that's what he does. And basically you follow his narrative, and so it's sort of woven like that, and then you will see at some point the narrative meets, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I have heard the main critiques of this is, apart from the fact that it's very, very long, is that some people find that they like one narrative more than the other, which I completely understand. So far, I think I'm leaning more towards the medical narrative, which is obviously Digby's narrative. So I can see, I think it was Shelley that said that she really liked the medical narrative, Digby's narrative. I think I do too, slightly more, even though I am okay with the other narrative too. I think that's well done as well. But yeah, I think because Abraham was trained in like medicine, I think he's a trained surgeon, I believe. I think, correct me if I'm wrong. So that's where his background lies, and you can see when he's writing those sections, the pages sort of come alive. So yeah, some bits like I'm enjoying the plot. I feel like it's really, really well done. I don't feel like, obviously having read The House of Doors by Tan Tuan Eng, I feel like I felt in really safe hands with him, whereas this, I don't always feel like that with his writing, because I think sometimes the pacing doesn't always quite work. There are certain sections I feel like that it could have been cut down a little bit, so that's my main critique of it at the moment. But yeah, I'm pleased I'm reading it, and I definitely will finish it. So yeah, that is that. Then because I've been struggling with my sleeping, this is what happens to me sometimes. If you know me, you know this. So my husband was like, why don't you just read I've got loads of middle grades. He's like, why don't you just read a nice middle grade before bed? And so I was like, do you know what? I'm going to. So I picked up, on my shelves is Like a Curse by Elle McNicoll. Elle McNicoll is one of my favourite, probably is my favourite middle grade writer. She's a neurodivergent author. amazing. Her storytelling ability is just so wonderful. Her debut book, A Kind of Spark, was mine and my daughter's favourite, one of our favourite books that we read together, and we revisit it and we just love it so much. And obviously there's a TV series of it, side note. So yeah, this is the second in a series. So the first, so I can't really tell you too much about this, I'll tell you in a second. But in this, so basically in Like a Charm, you follow Ramya Knox, which obviously you follow Ramya Knox, and it's set in Scotland. And in the first book, she's in Edinburgh and she's sort of discovering that she can see these like magical creatures and no one else can see them. And did I say Ramya is a dyspraxic main protagonist, which I am dyspraxic, so I love seeing that representation. Elle McNicoll writes neurodivergent representation so well. Like she basically brings out the superpower element in these characters, and it's just, but also depicting the actual real life things that people go through, which I just love so much. And the plotting of this is just gorgeous. It's it's just so much fun. So obviously, yeah, like magical creatures. And in this book, we go over to Loch Ness. So Ramya's obviously still here, and we're following her adventures over in Loch Ness. So following on from the events of the first book. So that's as much as I pretty much can say. But yeah, I'm about a third of the way in so far, reading it little pieces here and there at night time, and I love it. So yeah, it's a perfect evening read, like to sort of wind down to before I go to bed. So that is that. I haven't listened to any more of Small Joys. Obviously, which I'll put that on screen, but I haven't really listened to any more of that since for some reason I've just not been listening to my audiobook. I think, to be fair, trying to get through the Covenant of Water, because some of the sections are a little bit bigger, yeah, is taking everything out of me that I have apart from. So yeah, I think that's probably why. The next thing I'm going to talk to you about is some of the things I've been doing this week. So obviously last week, me and my husband went out for the day, which was just so lovely. We went down to Cliveden and we sort of had time there, which was really nice. We went down by the river. I thought it might be a bit rainy, but it was actually really gorgeous. I love Cliveden. It's one of my favourite National Trust properties that we have sort of local to us. So yeah, we had lunch there and it was just lovely. So that was last weekend, and then this week just gone, me and my sister, my lovely sister Emily from Naval Novels, I'll link in the description, and we went to Wokingham for the day, or for the morning, because it was just the morning. We just went for a few hours, and we went charity shopping, and because this is what my sister loves doing, it's one of her favourite things. She actually did a vlog, so I will link that. I'll put a link in the description as soon as it appears. I'm not sure when that will be, but check that out as well. So I picked up some books. So shall I show you the books that I picked up? I was quite good. Well, for me, I think I was quite good. I wasn't going to buy any, actually. So actually, I wasn't quite good. I found 2 books for my friends, which I'm not going to talk about. And then I picked up 3 books for myself. The first 2 of these books I have read, and then one of them I haven't. So I'll tell you the ones that I've read. So I found a really gorgeous copy of Great Expectations. And it looks practically brand new. Can you see the spine's not cracked? And it's just this lovely Penguin Library edition. So this can sit on my shelves, my classic shelves. I read this last year. I listened to it on audiobook. I love the fact that I've got a really nice copy of it now. So yeah, I was happy with that. And speaking of books that I've loved, this is one I'm banging on about, which is Cat Lady by Dawn O'Porter. I listened to this on my library app like a couple of months ago, and it was such a delight. It's like, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. Basically, we follow a lady called Mia who attends a pet grief support group, and it's about because she's scared of losing her cat Pigeon. So it's about her coming to terms with some of the things that she's had going on in her past and stuff like that. It's so hilarious. It's so brilliant. So as soon as I saw this book in the charity shop, I wanted a physical copy. The hardcover is actually quite difficult to get hold of now because I believe the paperback's just come out. But anyway, it's not just that. Look. So you have this cover, and then look. You've got these end papers. Okay, that's just fairly normal. Then look. Look at that. Isn't that like the most gorgeous thing and the cutest thing? So I'm so pleased I have this. If you haven't read Cat Lady and you want some sort of like a fun fiction that's going to make you laugh and also make you cry, pick it up. Also, I believe that Xigxag, which is an audiobook service which I frequently purchase from, they've got the audiobook of this currently on offer for £3.99, so I'll put a link in the description for that so you can get hold of that. So yeah, this is really good, and I feel like I'm going to be banging on about this book all year. Yeah, that's what I got. And then I also got The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin, and N.K. Jemisin is sort of a fantasy writer, I believe. And this is sort of, I think it's like about New York, and it's sort of, but New York is divided into like, it says every city has a soul. Some are ancient as myths, others are as new and destructive as children. New York, she's got 6, and all 6 will be called to arms, the greatest battle the city has ever fought. And this is one that was talked about quite a few years ago on BookTube. And I always wanted to pick it up. I potentially had thought about picking it up brand new, and when I saw it for like £1, I was like, yes. So that is that. So those are the books I picked up. My little mini haul. Oh, I know what I've got for recommendation. I've got one of the things that me and my family, my husband did a board games thing with work last week, and he was banging on and on about how brilliant one of the games that he played was, and so much so that he actually bought it for us as a family, which is Llamas. You see, the llama card game. And this is such a fun game. You wouldn't think it would be, but if you like Uno, it's like Uno plus. Because you'd like, honestly, just pick it up. It's so funny, so hilarious. And it's, yeah, basically you have to get the lowest score. So you start the game with 6 cards each, and the llama is like worth 10 points, and by the end of the game the person with the least points wins. So you have to basically go around and get rid of all your cards. Do you see what I'm saying? So yeah, and if you're left with the llama's 10 points. So yeah, I'd never heard of this game before. It's really, really fun. We were screaming, we were laughing, and doing all the Brooke family game things that we do. So yeah, I would recommend this. That is that. Right, in terms of my plans ahead of me, this weekend, as you watch this, if you're watching this on Sunday the 9th of July, it's actually my wedding anniversary. How many years have I been married? I got married to my husband in 2005. I've been with my husband since I was 17, so 1999, which is a very, very long time ago. I think we're not actually planning on doing anything too much this weekend, because we did do like our little day out last week because my husband's been extremely busy. So I think we're just going to have a really nice quiet day as you watch this. But I think the kids are planning to go and spend time with my family for the day, so we will actually have some time together, which would be really nice. So yeah, love my husband so much, obviously. So yeah, that's the something. And then also another thing I was going to talk to you about is on Monday I'm due to go to the cinema with my friends, 2 of my friends that I've known since I was 11. They messaged me and basically asked me to go to the cinema, and I was like, yes, obviously. And so the movie we're going to see is The Greatest Days, which I hadn't actually for some reason heard of before. And this is based on the musical, which some of you might be familiar with. It's a Take That musical. So yeah, that's what the movie's about. It's about some girls, a group of friends, and their sort of love of Take That, I guess. I'm guessing that's what the movie's about. I saw the trailer for like 2 seconds, and I'm guessing that. But I was like, oh my god, it's a Take That movie. I did not realise that I'd agree. That's what I'd agree to. That's fine though, because I loved Take That. I just love Take That. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so we're going to go see that Monday. I'm excited. Have you guys heard of it? Have any of you guys seen it? Let me know in the comments below. I'll leave a link to the trailer if any of you guys want to see it in the description. So yeah, so that's that. So yeah, that's me. That's what I've got ahead. Nothing too exciting planned, but yeah, we're always going to have loads of fun. So whatever happens, So yeah, I hope you guys have a good week and have a good weekend, and let me know all the things you've been up to, what you've been doing, what you've been reading, how you've been, like, just let me know. We always love having a good old chat with you guys. So yeah, sending love to anyone that needs it. Take care.